your girl.
Attracting better doesn't just start with what it is that you want, it starts with what you also accept. We attract everything, but what we allow is what will continue, and what we allow is what we'll repeatedly go through, and it'll also keep us stuck at a certain version of ourselves that we operate out of, right? We can't maintain the same level of thinking and behaving and then expecting a miracle. In a perfect world, yes, but realistically, unfortunately, not, right? When we choose to entertain something or when we choose to accept something, what that symbolically is us cracking or opening a door for something to be able to come in, right? What that does is when you leave a door cracked or when you leave a door open, it allows things to rush in, to bombard, to knock you over, to get in. And it basically sends a mixed signal to God, because it's like, why would you keep the door cracked or why would you keep the door open for something that you just said you didn't want, right? A perfect example of this, in my opinion, and I use relationships because they are such the easiest thing these days, right? Is if I'm in a toxic situation and let's just say that this partner was neglectful to me, I was not a priority, they put themselves first, they were very selfish. I get out of that situation and I tell myself, or I speak aloud, or I pray and I say that I want better. But then when that person comes back knocking on my door, or when that person sends me a text, or when that person is doing things to reach out, I end up texting them back. Even if I know that I'm not 100% taking them serious, what am I still doing? I'm still leaving that door cracked, which tells me, which tells you, which tells God, which tells whoever you believe in, that basically you are still somewhat open to receiving that energy, and it's gonna keep coming, right? I like to say that attracting better is almost like a game, right? And I only say that because when it comes to attracting better, you will always have a test from my experience. So it's like, let's just say that I wrap up a very, very, very big lesson, in a relationship or a friendship. Let's just say that, I ended a toxic friendship, girl wasn't following girl code or whatever it is, right? And let's say that I said that I want better. Let's say that I attract someone new and they kind of show me the same signs, even if subtle and slightly, and something doesn't feel right here, but I still kind of entertain that girl. I still entertain that new friendship, and I'm still like giving that effort. What I have subconsciously done is opened up that door and ignored my own knowing, my own intuition. And what that does is tell God, like, okay, this is still something that I want, because even though I know in here that something's not right, or I see the signs, I'm still allowing that door to open. I'm still allowing that person to bombard me and come into my sacred space and, act the way that they're acting, or give me this experience, because I could have just kept the door closed, right? Or instead of kicking them out, I'm allowing them to come in and get comfortable. I'm asking them, do they want a blanket too? Do you need a pillow while you're at it? Would you like me to turn on, some sleepy music so you can go ahead and take a nap? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if we don't want something, we have to learn how to not entertain it, how to not accept it, because what that is doing is cracking the door or opening the door. It's like if a burglar came into your home, broke in, stole everything, it would only take one time for that experience to be something that's like, you know what, I learned my lesson, this is a done deal. By the next day, you're gonna get new locks. You're probably gonna get a triple, quadruple, sky-powered lock, right, for your door. You're gonna have a safe thing for you to use in case it ever happens again and you happen to be home. You're going to hide your kids, wives, children, jewelry, whatever it is valuable that you have, and you're going to be on the lookout, and you're going to take more protective safety measures to make sure that that burglary never happens again. Why can't we do that when we learn hard lessons with people? Why can't we do that? Because what we're doing is the same thing. If I keep allowing the door to be open or cracked, or if I keep doing things, let's just say that when the robber robbed and I haven't learned my lesson the first time, I don't change anything, I'm still doing things that kind of attract a burglar back to my house or make it easy for them to come in, then guess what? A, B, C, D, 1 + 1 = 2. Obviously, they're going to come back and I'm still the target because I haven't learned my lesson. I think that most times when you want to attract better, you have to show that you've learned the lesson from the situation. Every experience that we have can teach us something. It can teach us something, and I like to tell people all the time that if you don't know what something is teaching you, journal about your experiences, look back at them, and you will find a pattern, or you will see something that is trying to be taught to you through that experience. And I feel like the more that we keep those doors closed, and the more that we only open it to what aligns, that is the more that we will receive more of an influx of that energy, more of what we want to see. But we have to keep the door closed to what it is that is keeping us stuck in cycles. Because once again, if I come out of something toxic and I attract a different person, I may see signs or something or whatever, and I just settle for it, or I'm still slightly entertaining it. That's still keeping a door cracked. And that's something that I want to hold us accountable for, myself included, because I kind of have that bad where I keep the door cracked, okay? And that's something that we can't do, because again, that is showing that you still haven't learned the lesson, because that's like a burglar coming in, doing something. I'm gonna keep my door cracked for them to be able to be like, hey, while I'm at it, let me come back and get X, Y, and Z. It makes no sense. So I think that choosing to go towards things that align more is the wave. I think that that's best, and I think that that sends a stronger signal of us having learned the lesson, and that way we don't have to deal with the same thing. Now, we will still receive a test no matter what, because at the end of the day, that's the best way for God to see, have you fully learned your lesson? And when it is a yes, and we can tell based on what you're entertaining or what you're choosing to accept, then that's the case. Now, I do want to say, now let me just say this. There is always somebody out there that is going to have a counter argument or some type of, not necessarily, but I don't, blah, blah, blah. Because I feel it in my spirit that maybe somebody is going to say, oh, well, I blah, 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 and I still attract X, Y, and Z. And I want to say this, right? Because that's a good question, statement, whatever you want to call it. The reason why you might still be attracting the same thing and not everything, but choosing the wrong thing, is because you need to change. Newsflash, buddy. Unfortunately, right? Because sometimes another thing is self-awareness is key to everything, right? It's like sometimes we ourselves are the problem, and we are why we're attracting something, because most times you attract what you are, but instead we're pointing the finger at everything else and waiting on that miracle to come. It's like somebody that is extremely toxic, selfish, whatever you want to call it, and they're sitting there crying and complaining like, oh, well, I only attract blah, 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 blah. Well, you're attracting what you are, a bag of, no, I'm just playing. But still, it's like sometimes you have to change yourself in order to attract better too. Maybe there's something about you that's not vibing on that same frequency or showing that you're capable or ready of something. You know, sometimes you have to change yourself, or maybe sometimes, damn it, you gotta be patient, because I feel like that's something that I struggle with too, right? Sometimes it's just a matter of being patient, you know, especially when it comes to opportunities. Sometimes something that's a huge blessing that we're praying on or waiting on is not something that comes overnight. You know dang well you can't build $1 billion corporation overnight, right? It takes time, right? And it's the same thing when we're asking for, praying for, you know, something big, you know, especially when it's an opportunity, a person, whatever it could be, a thing, right? It takes time. God is aligning you and preparing you for that. And I do feel like sometimes while we're waiting, we're going through upgrades. God is taking us through an alternative route that's going to help build us up furthermore and prepare us, so when we get that thing, we can keep it. And it's the same thing where, you know, you have to better yourself in order to be the right, you know, person to keep it, you know, because sometimes, let's just say that we don't change ourselves and we get better. We're not going to be able to keep it because we don't have the healthy coping mechanisms. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have the wisdom or whatever it is that is needed to keep it, because we didn't go through that radical journey of having it, right? And I do feel like You know, as much as sometimes tests are annoying, it is very important because, again, it shows, have I learned, you know, and I'm guilty of that, okay, because I almost slipped up in the 2026, okay, and I can admit that. But I would say that I picked myself back up. I got on track and I said, oh, you know, because I almost put myself back in a cycle, but that's another story. But anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, like, share, comment, subscribe. Maybe someone else needs to hear this. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I appreciate it. I hope you guys are still having a great new year, and don't be afraid to, you know, do the inner work, or don't be afraid to journal, and don't be afraid, you know, to take the steps necessary or cut people and stuff off. Even if you started entertaining stuff already, y'all, ghost it, drop it, whatever you have to do, because once again, what we're trying to do in 2026 is attract better. Okay, so remember to always leave that door closed if it's not something you want, and open it if it's something that you do want. Love you.